Hi there, welcome to Two Birds. I'm Fiona, and today's class is a 60-minute Vinyasa slow flow class which focuses on counteracting tension in your neck, shoulders, back and hips, which may have accumulated from camping out at your desk all day or being a little bit more sedentary. Class pairs poses which open the front of the body as well as back body strengtheners. And all you'll need for class today is a yoga strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a jean belt or even a scarf, just making sure it's quite wide. And we'll use that at the start of the class. I hope you enjoy, and I hope it offers some relief. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And begin your practice laying down on the mat in a reclined position, coming down onto your back. Bend the knees, take your feet to the edges of your mat and let your knees knock in toward each other. Aligning your spine so you feel like the back of your skull is in line with the back of your pelvis. And noticing and adjusting for your spine's natural curvature. You've got a little hollow in the back of your neck and a trough in the lumbar spine. And taking the arms up toward the ceiling, cross your right arm in front of your left arm, and then just go ahead and hug yourself, wriggling your fingers around to the back of your shoulder blades and dividing your shoulder blades a little further apart with your fingers. And then simply relax and settle in, close your eyes. And letting your arms, your elbows relax over your chest. Your breath to feel peaceful, spontaneous. Letting your gaze find a steady focal point. It's feeling your weight empty down into the support beneath you, inner and outer seams of the legs relaxing as your knees knock. And then go ahead, reach your arms once more for the ceiling. Recross the arms and take the fingertips around to the shoulder blades. See if you can find a little bit more breadth across your upper back. And then go ahead, relax your fingers, relax your arms, your elbows, and settle in. And so your yoga practice is here to support you. So we're just taking our bodies through their range of motion and also creating variability in our movement. And when we do this, the happier our bodies will be. So they're designed to move. The more we can change up our positions throughout our day in our practice, the less likely it is for us to become stagnant physically, mentally, and energetically. I'm going to take one more deep breath in and out here. And release your arms and bring them down by your side now to heel your feet back toward one another and bring them hip distance apart. We're going to walk our heels a little closer in toward our buttocks. We're going to set up for a variation on bridge pose, just starting to wake up the upper spine, thoracic spine and the back of the neck. So find all four corners of your feet and anchor them down into the mat. As you breathe in, reach your right arm overhead and slowly raise your hips, keeping your thighs parallel. Right arm overhead and gently turn your gaze to the left. As you breathe out, turn your gaze back toward the ceiling and lower your hips and your right arm down. Second side, we raise our left arm up, hips come up at the same time, and turning our gaze over to the right. So some nice gentle movement for the neck. We'll do that once more each side. Lowering down, eyes back to the ceiling. Right arm up and overhead as the hips lift and gaze turns left. And then lowering down and switching sides. And lowering all the way down. You're going to tuck the knees in toward your chest and take a rock side to side, perhaps some circles through the low back just to massage the low back area, perhaps around to the outer buttocks. And when you're ready, take the feet to the floor and roll out to your right side, just dragging yourself all the way up to sit. And if you like to sit on the edge of a blanket or a cushion, just grabbing it now so your pelvis can tilt forward. Comfortably crossing your legs in front of you. And once again, lifting tall through the spine. We're going to take our hands interlaced behind the back of your head. And taking the elbows back, so the inner elbows move back, lift your chest, your sternum. And as you breathe out, do the opposite action, just bringing the elbows in toward each other, chin toward your chest and round the spine. We'll do that a few more times, just arching, lifting, opening the elbows. And on your breath out, curling in, doming your upper back. And once more. And find your neutral spine and slide your fingertips to the top of your shoulders, elbows out wide, and we'll circle through the shoulders. So just bringing the elbows forward to kiss, circling them up and round. We'll do that 3 times. Just moving in your comfortable range of motion, bringing some warmth there to the shoulder girdle, and roll it back the other way. And then releasing, and you'll need your strap here, your towel or your belt, whatever you have as your accessory here. And we're going to take our hands to the belt, shoulder width apart, and bring the arms forward at shoulder height. So keeping the belt quite taut as we breathe in, we'll take our arms up overhead. So straight up, arms straight. And then as you breathe out, bend the elbows out wide to the side as if you're doing a lat pull down. And then inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the arms forward to shoulder height. We'll do that a few more times, just moving slow with your breath. And just notice the muscles engage in your upper back as you bend the elbows. And then feel the shoulder blades lift and lightly rotate outwards as the arms lift overhead. Twice more in your own time, just starting to calibrate your breath so it syncs with your movement. And then we're going to bring our arms forward and then just slide your hands really wide on your belt in front of you. Keep the belt nice and taut, but take your hands at least as wide as your shoulders. And here, just be really careful and notice your own range of motion. Stay within that. We're going to take the belt up overhead. As we breathe out, we'll take the belt behind us, and your hands might need to widen there as you lower your arms down behind. As you breathe in, arms come up overhead, and exhale, hands forward with the belt. And do that a few more times. You're feeling the motion of your shoulder blades. Try and keep the muscles either side of your neck, around your traps, nice and soft throughout the movement. A lovely one for opening the front of the shoulders, across the pectoral muscles and the solar plexus. And next time your arms are up overhead, Keep your hands just where they are and just take a lateral stretch. Tip down to one side, keep the belt nice and taut, and take a side bend, and then up and over to the other side. And then back to center, and we'll release the belt just down to the side. You won't need it again. So just off to one side and move forward onto all fours to set up for cat and cow. And just placing your hands underneath your shoulders, spreading equally through all your fingers. Take the knees underneath your hips, press down through your shins and stretch all your toes back. Take a deep breath in, gently arch the spine, gaze up, breathing out, rounding the spine, hugging your navel back toward your spine as you go. And just keep moving, undulating through the spine, feeling the whole length of your spine articulate and participate in your movement. Feeling your low back, middle and upper back, even the back of your neck. Integrating your breath with your movement, so you really sense your breath feeding some space into your torso between the ribs and the spine. And so often during the day we let our heads protrude forward when we're looking down at the computer or our phones, and this adds weight and strain to the back of our necks. And this simple movement just helps to bring our neck back in position over our spine. And just go one more round in each direction. And transitioning into Anahatanasana, lovely shoulder opener. We keep our hips over our knees and walk our arms forward with our hands, taking our hands a little wider than our shoulders. So once again, our arms are overhead. Our shoulder blades are going to lift and they're going to rotate externally. So we're going to allow that to happen, but at the same time we want to try and keep that nice soft energy around the sides of our neck and our upper back. And just let your forehead rest down either on the floor or to the floor without straining there or over effort through the shoulders. Feeling length through the sides of your waist and finding a pocket of space and release around the sides of your neck by gently melting the inner borders of your shoulders down, muscles surrounding the sides and back of your neck. As you breathe in, gaze forward between your hands, and breathing out, melting down onto your belly to set up for Sphinx Pose. Your elbows just a little forward of your shoulders, elbows, forearms shoulder width apart, palms face down. And then arrange your legs. Your feet can be about hip width apart here. Stretch all your toes back. Activate the leg muscles and lengthen your tailbone, the bottom of your spine toward your heels. And invite your outer thighs to roll down toward the floor. Pressing into your forearms to lift and bring the ribs forward, waking up your upper back muscles, and lightly draw your lower belly away from the floor, even if you don't get any air there, just to create a bit of a dome that rounds up toward your lower back. And as you energetically lift your belly, it supports and distributes that curvature of your back bend more evenly along the length of your spine. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale, melt down to the floor, slide the hands back by your ribs and press back into a child's pose. So keeping your arms forward here, your buttocks to your heels, press your palms and take your fingers to the nape of your neck. And when they arrive there, just slightly walk your elbows forward and you'll feel a light stretch through the back of your arms, around the triceps. And top of your back can relax again around the neck, sides of the neck. And this is your rest pose. If you need to return at any time to a place of rest or do less, come back to this position here. Join back in the flow whenever you're ready. Releasing the hands forward, take your little fingers to the edges of the mat. Stretch forward through your arms, float up onto all fours and come into your first downward facing dog. So you're just trying to find a comfortable stride here between the back of your hands and your toes. Too short and you won't get that lovely stretch through your spine, and too long, your legs, your core and your arms will have to work a lot more to support you. So just pedaling out through your heels, perhaps walking your feet forward or back, maybe even a bend in the knees there as you sit up. Try and line your wrist creases up with the top edge of your mat. And just visualize your feet and your hands dropping anchors into the ground, lengthening the arm bones up. And just exploring the shape that you can feel in your upper back and your neck now, and invite a little bit more room in that spot. Without moving your hands, just get the feeling like you're dialing your hands away from one another. And feel how that adjusts and broadens your upper back. It'll naturally externally rotate your upper arms and give you a little bit more space. We're going to take 2 more deep cycles of breath. Let your eyes fall steady. As you feel yourself breathe out, soft bend in the knees, look forward to the top edge of your mat and walk yourself there. Setting your feet up hip distance apart, we'll take an easy forward fold, light bend in the knees, heels lightly angled out, and fold forward over your legs, catching opposite elbows. And you can move around a little here, maybe swaying a little side to side. Feel that movement stretch the sides of your waist and loosen the hips. And then just sway yourself back to center. And release your arms to a dangle, and then on slow, long in-breath, root down through your feet to rise up. You can round the spine, bring your head, neck and shoulders up last. Sweeping your arms out and then up overhead. Rest your hands to your heart center. And we'll cycle through a couple of rounds of lunge sun salutations just to open up through the front of our hips and also our chest. First round we'll move a little slower, and then one movement, one breath. So we're going to link our thumbs here, space our fingers, take a big arch up and back. As you breathe out, sweep your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. With a deep bend in your knees, fold forward. Your arms float away from your back, any amount there. Feel your shoulder heads lift up, away from the mat. Feel your head and neck grow a little longer and heavier. As you breathe in, release your hands to your shins, straighten the legs, come up halfway. As you breathe out, take your fingertips to the floor and lunge your right leg back, right knee to the floor for low lunge, keeping your back toes tucked. So once you're steady here, reach your arms up, bring your torso upright, stretch your fingers toward the ceiling. And then on your next breath out, we're going to reach the arms back, raise your back knee and bring your torso forward. So you're just hovering right above your front thigh, low belly's trying to hug up and away from your front thigh. And then lower your right knee down to the floor, come back to your low lunge, reach your arms. And then we're going to bend the elbows into cactus arms. So inner elbows press back, shoulder blades draw in toward each other behind you. Lift your heart. And then reach the arms back up toward the ceiling. Perhaps gaze up if it doesn't bother your neck. Exhale, hands to the floor. Stepping quietly back to downward facing dog. And take a long enough stride there so you can move forward with ease into a high push-up here. And then drop the knees, your chest and your chin, lower all the way down onto your belly. Keeping the hands where they are, your fingers spread. Gently draw up for a low cobra. And then exhale, peel down and glide back into your downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Try and let your gaze fall steady. Activate the hands, so you're pressing down through all the base knuckles of your fingers, trying to dial the fingers away from one another. It's a bit of an isometric movement just to help bring more space and room to your upper back and neck. And keeping the hands planted, step your toes together, second side, right leg rising as you breathe in. As you breathe out, take a giant step forward with your right foot up to your hands, left knee to the floor and your left toes stay tucked. Arms reach up alongside your ears and then just settle in. Let your hips lightly sink forward, but keep an engagement through your left glutes there. And then we're going to take our arms back, torso forward, and your left knee can lift here. Stretch back through your heel. Draw the crown of your head forward. And then lower your left knee down, reach the arms up. Finding more length through the sides of your waist. And then cactus your arms. Elbows out wide, emphasizing that opening through your chest. Reach the arms on your in-breath, perhaps gaze up. Exhale, hands to the floor. We're going to step forward, feet come about hip distance apart. When you arrive, halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale and forward fold. Sweep your arms out and up, come all the way up to stand. And then rest your hands to your heart center. So second side will go one movement, one breath. You can slow it down at any time. You can even pause me. Take your thumbs and link your thumbs, space your fingers, take a big arch up and back on your in-breath. Exhale, take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers and fold over your legs. Release the hands to your shins, look forward, extend your heart forward, halfway lift. Exhale, fingertips down. We're going to step our left leg back, left knee to the floor for a low lunge. Arms reach up on your in-breath. Runner's lunge, arms back, torso forward. Lower your left knee, reach the arms once more. Bend the elbows, cactus arms, breathe out. Keep moving with your breath. Arms rise, breathe in. Hands to the floor, breathe out. Stepping back, downward facing dog. Shift forward to your high push-up as you breathe in. Exhale, low push-up. Please modify if you'd like there. Knees can come to the floor. Back bend of your choice. Just emphasizing an opening through your chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Toes step together at the back of your mat. Left leg rising as you breathe in. Left foot forward between your hands. Right knee to the floor. Low lunge, arms reach up. Runner's lunge, torso forward, arms back, crown of the head reaching forward. Low lunge, back knee down, arms rise. Cactus your arms, bend the elbows. Reach the arms on your in-breath. Hands to the floor on your out-breath. Step quietly forward, top edge of your mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Forward fold, empty your lungs there. Root down through your feet, rise all the way to stand, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. So hopefully you're feeling a little warmer in the shoulders now. We're going to work on some shoulder conditioning now. We'll take our arms overhead as you breathe in. Exhale, forward fold over your legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, look forward. And then plant the hands, step back to a plank pose and pause. So if you're feeling really strong and energetic, keep the knees up, your legs straight, the heels reaching back. If you'd like to modify here, take your knees down to the floor for 6 push-ups. And we're going to do some tricep push-ups here. So elbows point straight back and your elbows balance over your wrists as you lower. So take a deep breath in, try and stretch your heart forward, bring your heart forward and then down to a hover, press back up, high push-up. So we've got 5 more, just move with your breath and you can come down just quite close to the floor or just make those push-ups quite small. Just concentrate on stabilizing your shoulder girdle by keeping your elbows over your wrists, not dropping your shoulders down and lifting your butt into the air. And push back up here. We're going to balance on our left hand, straighten your right leg and turn your left knee behind you, your left toes behind you. So we set up for a modified side plank here. And again, working on the shoulders, we're going to take our right arm up toward the ceiling. And then as we breathe out, take the right arm forward overhead. And you can keep your gaze down here just to keep your neck nice and neutral. And then some big circles through the right arm. So just raising the right arm up, circle it back behind you, back toward the back edge of your mat, and then forward, overhead. And take 2 more big, large circles like that. And just notice the movement in the shoulder girdle. If you can find a little bit more space around your neck as you move your arm. And then circle all the way back to center and come back onto all fours. Second round of push-ups. We'll do some pectoral push-ups, which focus on the strengthening the front of our shoulders, the front of our chest, and our elbows go out wide here. So if you are on all fours there, make sure your knees are back behind your hips. You're on a diagonal line there. And we're going to take our hands just a little wider and turn the thumbs in toward each other so the fingers turn in a little. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, bring your heart forward and then lower down. Push back up. And we'll take 5 more there. So just notice now what part of your body is moving, what part is working. Check in with your abdominal muscles. Make sure they're not spilling. Last one. And coming all the way up, we make our way into our modified side plank on the opposite side. Balance on your right hand here and straighten out through your left leg. Right toes turn behind you. Now reaching your left arm up and then overhead. Keep the gaze down. So you keep your neck nice and neutral. And then 3 big circles with your left arm. You're circling it back behind you toward the back edge of your mat and then forward, back out overhead. Just staying in your comfortable range of motion, using this movement to bring comfort, relief from any tension that you might be holding in your shoulders. And then come back to center, moving back onto all fours. Press back to a plank pose. Nice, strong, straight legs, heels reaching back, legs engaged. And downward facing dog, hips up and back. And take about 5 deep breaths in and out. Sense if any more space is opened up for you in the shoulders, the arms, the neck. And take a deep breath in, gaze forward between your hands, light bend in the knees, and walk yourself forward to the top edge of the mat. Halfway lift when you arrive. Exhale, forward fold. Rise all the way to stand. Reach your arms out, then up, gaze up. And as you exhale, bring your hands to your hips. So from here, we are going to move into a tree pose, balancing on your right foot. Before you take your left foot up, really spread out through the sole of your right foot, your toes. And then once you feel quite solid and steady in your right leg, a little lighter on your left toes. Perhaps raising the left leg, you can take it to your inner upper thigh, clamping the knee together. Clamping the knee together, or you can sit your left foot below the knee to your inner shin, or even tap the toe to the floor. Rest your hands to your heart center. Lift your sternum toward your thumbs. Grow a little taller through your upper body. And engaging the muscles in and around your midsection. So you want to feel like you're hugging or cinching in around the waist, but also drawing the front of your pelvis up toward your navel. This will hold you steady around your center of gravity. And if you are feeling steady, you can raise your arms up overhead. As you do, take your hands shoulder width apart and lightly turn your little fingers in. Notice how that gives you a little bit more space in your upper back. As you reach your arms up, hold your gaze steady. And an optional arm placement here is to take the hands down behind your back, catch opposite elbows there, or press your knuckles together just to emphasize an opening in your chest and challenge your balance. We've got 2 more breaths. And then taking your hands to your hips. Keep your left knee raised and step yourself back to a high lunge, stepping the left foot all the way back over in the left lane. And with your hands on your hips there, just level out through your pelvis and perhaps take your feet just a little wider to hip distance apart. And then from here, we're going to take our arms forward, flip the palms out, and take your right hand on top of your left hand. Really press and clamp your hands together. Then take your arms up. So as you take your arms up, you might notice that you start to bunch through the shoulders. And again, with your arms going up, shoulder blades move wide, apart, rotate out, and the back of your neck, your traps can relax down. You'll feel your outer shoulders engage here with the press of your hands, and that's like an isometric energy between the palms, really pressing them there, reaching up, holding your balance. Take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, release your hands back to your hips and land both feet so you can turn a quarter turn to your left toward the long edge of your mat. You're going to reach your arms out so they're level with the floor, and we're going to take a modified revolve triangle here. I'm trying to keep length in the back of our neck as we go. So here, just put a little bend in your right knee, and we're going to reach forward and down with our left hand, taking your left hand underneath your shoulder and keeping your gaze down here. Then take the right hand up toward the ceiling and then take it overhead. So you're taking it overhead forward and then send your gaze up to the very edge of your fingers. Gently twisting your navel toward the ceiling. And then as you breathe in, reach your right arm up toward the ceiling, but as you go, try and keep your chin in toward your chest. So you're keeping the back of your neck nice and long in your revolve triangle. And then reach the right arm forward again. And then come all the way back up, reaching the arms out to a T. Little bend in the left knee, we'll go the opposite side. Looking down, taking the right hand down underneath your shoulder. You might land on your fingertips or the palm of your hand. Keep the gaze down. Left arm goes up toward the sky, and you start to revolve your torso toward the left. And then take the left arm forward overhead, and then look up toward the edge of your fingers. And then take the left arm straight up toward the ceiling, following your gaze to the fingers, keeping the chin lightly in, back of your neck really long, so the skull's reaching away from your tailbone. And bring the left arm forward. And then with a strong core, strong legs, come all the way back up. And we'll do that once more, each side in your own time. So just concentrate on your movement, how you're placing yourself, and the shape and length that you can create through the back of your neck. And when we find neutral through the back of our neck, the top part of our spine triples in length. Oftentimes we have our chin out during the day, looking. And so we want to try and bring the back of our skull in line with the rest of our spine, back of the pelvis. And creating more stability in your neck. Notice if you're creating any new sensations in your neck, your spine, your upper back. And then we'll return back to center whenever you're ready. Turn toward the top edge of your mat, plant your hands, and step quietly back to downward facing dog. And it's optional here to take a flow. If you'd like to move through your Vinyasa, you'd move from high to low push-up. And taking a back bend of your choice, just resetting through the spine and returning to downward facing dog. And then a light bend in the knees. We'll look forward, we'll go over to the other side, walk, travel, hop to the top edge of your mat. Halfway lift when you arrive. And forward fold. Rising all the way to stand, reach your arms out, then up. And as you exhale, hands to your hips. Balancing on your left foot now, making sure that you spread wide and long through the sole of your left foot before coming into your tree pose. Right knee lifting, externally rotating, and then finding that perfect place to position your right foot, inner upper thigh, lower leg, or tap the toes to the floor. And with your hands at your heart center, just find that optimal core engagement. Navel drawing back toward your spine, front of the pelvis lifting up, tailbone lengthening down. And if you are feeling steady here, option to take your arms up overhead. And keeping your arms quite wide, your little pinky fingers turning in toward each other. Holding steady. And you can experiment with taking your hands behind the back, pressing the knuckles, or catching your forearms. And this will naturally puff your ribs out and maybe throw you off center, so try and engage your upper abdominal muscles and reduce the sway in your low back to hold you steady. One more deep breath in. And as you release, hands to the hips, right foot stepping back into your high lunge. And then adjust your feet, hip distance apart. Perhaps a little bend in the back knee to find neutral through your pelvis. Reaching the arms forward now, palms face out. And taking the left hand on top of your right hand to press your palms together. Slowly raising your arms up overhead. And try and minimize that bunching through the shoulders and the neck. But really activating the outer arms through the press of your hands. Holding steady, just noticing if your abdominals are spilling or if they're engaged, and how your breath is moving. If you can improve the quality of your breath as you balance here. Deep breath in. Exhale, release, hands to hips and turn a quarter turn to your right to the long edge of your mat. Position your feet quite wide there, heels out, toes in. And this is really less about a hamstring stretch here, so feel free to have a little bend in the knees if it makes reaching the floor a little easier, more accessible. So we place a little bend in our right knee. Keeping the gaze down, we follow our left hand all the way down to the floor as the right hand drifts up toward the ceiling. And then turn and start to rotate. So a mild twist through the spine there. Right collarbone draws back. And then we take our right arm overhead and we look forward to the very tips of our fingers. And then we follow the fingers as they rise back up toward the ceiling. We come into our twist. Right shoulder stacks over the left shoulder. And then right arm overhead, reaching forward once more. And then with a strong core, pushing down through your feet, come all the way up. So your arms are out in a T. And we switch over to the other side. Little bend in the left knee. Hinge forward from your hips, right hand down. Underneath your shoulder. Left arm straight up toward the ceiling, opening up for your twist. Revolving to your left. Left arm overhead. And then look forward toward your fingertips there. And then as you take the left hand up toward the ceiling, try and keep the chin in the back of your neck nice and long, really trying to create some space there, release tension. And then send the left arm overhead, reach out, maybe finding a lateral stretch there. and then come all the way up to stand, and we'll go one more each side in your own time. And just notice the alignment of your spine. Nice, smooth, fluid movement. And switching over to the other side when you're ready. And when you complete your second side, we'll just move through a vinyasa or step quietly back to downward facing dog. And we'll all meet back there in Adho Mukha Svanasana. And we'll continue to alternate between lengthening sequences and strengthening ones. Our strengthening conditioning one coming up now. We'll shift forward to a plank pose and take a variation here. So your option is to either return to your push-ups on your knees if you're still working on your core strength there, or we'll do a straight leg variation. So if you're doing it on your knees, 6 tricep push-ups and then 6 pectoral push-ups, so your elbows out wide and your fingers sort of turning in toward each other. And if you're following me, slightly stronger variation, we'll start straight legs, regular push-up, tricep push-ups, lower and hover. And then as you breathe in, you come up, step your right foot out to the right side and your left hand out with your fingers just lightly angling in. Take a pectoral push-up here. And then push back up. We come back to center, left hand shifts in, right foot in, tricep push-up. And then we go the opposite side. Foot and hand step out, elbow out as you lower down. And then switch back to your regular push-up. Foot and hand out wide, pectoral push-up. Regular push-up, and we've just got one more each side. Keeping the belly firm, your legs strong. And back to center. And from here we'll lower all the way down onto our belly to balance out, setting up for Shalabhasana or Locust pose. We've got a few variations here. We'll reach our arms alongside our body, palms face down, extending and engaging your legs and keeping that unwrinkled feeling through the back of your neck. Elevating your chest, your legs, your arms as you breathe in, we lift up. See if you can turn your thumbs down toward the floor to exaggerate that expansion across the front of your chest. Lifting up a little higher as you breathe in. And exhale, release. So second round, option to either return to Locust just as we did, or if you're feeling open and warmed up through the spine as well as your shoulders, we'll take our hands behind our back, interlace our fingers. So as you breathe in, we're going to lift up, draw the fists back, the toes back, keeping the legs really engaged, your belly engaged, crown of the head reaching forward. So try not to jut the chin forward here. Deep breath in, lift up a little further. And exhale, release down. Final variation here, upward facing bow. And you can do this 1 foot at a time, or you can come back to Locust if it's too much for your back. So in this variation, we invite our thighs to remain on the floor. So we're not going to be rocking. Using the momentum of your inhale, we're going to bend our knees, take our hands to the outer parts of our ankles, and we're going to push our feet into our hands. So we use our in-breath to lift and expand our chest. So focusing on that front part of your chest, keeping the gaze lightly forward and down. Keep driving the thighs down toward the floor and the feet back into the hands. Uniform arch through the spine, extension here. Deep breath in and exhale, release. So So from here, just take your arms out wide to a T. Stay in this prone position. We'll just stretch out through the front of our shoulders. We're going to keep our right arm out straight at the height of our shoulders. Bend the left elbow, fingertips to the floor, and roll onto your right side hip. So you open your chest out to the long side of your mat. You should be able to feel that through the front of your shoulder. And if you'd like more sensation, you feel like you can go a little bit further, you can take your left knee, bend it, and take the left toes behind you. So you roll your torso a little further up toward the ceiling. Try not to overdo it here, just releasing through the shoulders. You're trying to create less tension in your body, particularly your upper body here. And then roll back down onto your belly. We'll do the same on the opposite side, just making sure the left arm's in line with your shoulder, palm face down. And then just roll onto your left side hip, propping yourself onto your right fingertips. And your head can rest down. Didn't say that before. Sometimes it ends up sort of hovering, and you've got to use a bit of effort to hold your head up. It's quite heavy, so just let your head rest. Top knee could bend and your right foot could step behind you. And then really relax into it. Let your left shoulder drop down. And then roll back onto your belly. We'll take a child's pose here. That should feel quite sweet through the spine. Just rolling onto your belly and drawing your buttocks back toward your heels. Keep your arms reaching forward there. Knees can set up a little wider than your hips. And then just soften around the back of your neck. And let your belly drop down between your thighs. And from here, we're just going to move on to our back. So you can just slowly come on up, sweep the feet around in front of you, move yourself to the middle of your mat and come to lay down on your back. So just bending the knees here, taking your feet to the floor. And this one is like a half cow through the arms. It's a little bit of a different variation. Nice one again for opening through the front of the shoulders. So from here, we're going to send the left leg out straight, keeping your right knee bent. Just push into your right foot to roll yourself to the left, to the long edge of your mat. Then you're going to bend your right elbow and swim your right hand up in between your shoulder blades, or as far over as you can, palm face down. And then just roll back onto your back so you lay down onto your hand. So you might recognize this. We often do this in a seated posture with our hands behind our back, linking our fingers. So this one is a variation here, and you've got gravity and your body weight helping to exaggerate that stretch now. Both legs could straighten out here, or you can keep that right knee bent if it feels more comfortable. And then with your left hand, we're going to take the left hand to the back of our head. So you can point your left elbow up to the room behind you, not up toward the ceiling. So you just get that feeling that one elbow is pointing down, one elbow is pointing up. And then just rest here on your back. Let your body weight and gravity do the work. And we're going to take 2 more smooth breaths. And then bend your right knee, release your left hand, and then just roll over to your left so you can release your right hand from underneath you. And then both knees bend, feet to the floor. Another variation for you, a lovely quad stretch. We're going to take our left foot, our left heel toward our right buttocks, and right hand catches your left foot. So it's kind of folded underneath you. And then you're going to relax your left knee down toward the floor. So you should be able to feel quite a strong stretch there through the top of your left quad muscles and hip flexors. And you can either stay here with your right foot on the floor, or if it feels okay, you can raise the right foot, flex your toes, and left hand would come to the front of your right shin. We'll take a few breaths here. And then we gently release, and we'll set up for that half cow on our backs on the second side. So just release the legs to the floor. Straighten your right leg now, keep your left knee bent, and then just roll over onto your right hip to swim your left hand now toward the center of your back and then up in between the shoulder blades. So your palms face down, and you can roll back and lay down on your hand. Both legs could straighten, or you can keep your left knee bent and your right hand would come to the back of your head, and you're trying to point the right elbow up as if you were going to swim your right hand down in between your shoulder blades from the top down. Relax across the front of the shoulders. Find a comfortable position for your legs and just settle in for a few breaths. And then gently release your weight, rolling out, releasing your hand. Both knees bend, feet to the floor, and we'll take the quad stretch on the opposite side. So your right heel threads underneath you toward your left buttocks. Left hand catches your right foot, or your toes there. And gently relax the right knee down toward the floor, any amount there. And your left foot can stay on the floor, or you can pick the foot up and take your right hand to the front of your left shin. Just another shape to play with. Just notice what feels right, comfortable and easy in your body. Head can relax. And just take a few breaths. And one more deep breath in. And exhale, release. So feet back to the floor, and then just roll the knees over to your right side so you can drag yourself all the way up to sit. And grab your blanket or your cushion if you have a prop to sit on, and we'll come into a comfortable cross-legged seat to practice some pranayama before we rest in Shavasana or seated meditation. Just sitting up nice and tall and refining your position, particularly around the head. So your chin's lightly nodding in, so you can create a maximum release for your upper back between your shoulder blades, and you're really long and tall through your low back. So we're going to practice a cooling breath called Sitali breathing, and it's the perfect antidote to a long, stressful day, and it's helpful just bringing you to a more balanced and clear state of mind. Nice one to complete your practice with. So if you haven't done it before, just stick your tongue out and curl up its outer edges. And if you find that hard, because sometimes our tongues don't do that, form an O with your mouth. And then from here, we just inhale through the mouth, letting the air pass over your tongue, feeling a cool breath, and we exhale through the nose. So we stay with that breathing pattern, that long, rhythmic breathing in through the mouth and out through the nose. And if it feels comfortable for you, just closing your eyes so you can really focus on the temperature of your breath as you breathe. And we here for about another minute, so just regulate your breathing. It doesn't need to be effortful. Feeling the calming effects of your out-breath. And this cooling breath is quite invigorating as well. So it has that nice balance. And just taking 3 more breaths. And then return to breathing in and out through your nostrils, and just notice any sensations that may have arisen for you. And we have about 5 minutes left in our practice. And ideally, either sit quietly in seated meditation if you're feeling really peaceful here, or just quietly transition into Shavasana, laying down on your back. And arranging yourself comfortably into the shape of a starfish, arms out wide to the sides of your body, palms face up. Feet fall out a little wider than your hips. And the midline of your body is straight. And just allowing the front of your body to recede back, letting go of your effort. Invite your expression to soften across your face. Front of your shoulders to relax. Your belly to move freely with your breath. And when we invite ourselves to indulge in a slow approach to our movements and we regulate our breathing, it's such a helpful way to self-regulate our own mental and physical well-being. So just indulging yourself now, taking the time to rest quietly, mindfully for the next few minutes. And gently, gently drawing your awareness back. And start to bring some movement to your body. And slowly, if you're laying down there, bend the knees, taking your feet to the floor and rolling out to your right side. Blinking the eyes open, letting the light in. And when you feel ready, dragging yourself all the way up to sit. Namaste.